you're going to have a David Carr situation. And you know what? A lot of people, here in Tampa are pointing the finger at the offensive line for Jameis Winston's problems. And I don't see it. I think a lot of it has to do with his decision making. I don't think he makes the right decisions in key moments. But then again, I'm just, that's my opinion. Listening to Bruce Arians talk that, it's half these interceptions are not his fault. Okay, well, he's still throwing them. They may not be his fault, but they're still on the stat sheet. And now you play the Atlanta Falcons, who have handily beat the Saints and Panthers the last 2 weeks. And now you go to their house to play them. And I think 2 weeks ago, as being here in Tampa, we all thought the Bucs would win those games against Atlanta. I don't know if that's going to happen, because the Falcons look pretty damn good, and they've come out of their bye week saying, you know what? We have nothing to lose. If we don't win another game, great. If we win all our games, well, we're 9-7 or 8-7 or whatever the heck their record would be when it was all said and done. So, they who knows? We all don't know, what might happen with them. It may have been one of those, oh, well, you know what? We're going to win a couple games and then, just get the momentum going in the right direction. But they also have not been the same team since their Super Bowl collapse. That team has not been the same since they collapsed against the Patriots. So they, they'll have to bounce back 9 times out of 10. Their coach is going to get fired at the end of the season. So the Falcons will have a new head coach next season, most likely. But I mean, that's my take on the NFL.
Well, what about with the Rudolph and Garrett situation, though?
Well, that was probably, I don't even know. I don't even know a word to describe that. Unbearable. I don't really know a word to describe that.
Humiliating.
I was at the hockey game last Thursday, so I didn't even hear about it until I got home.
Right.
And as I was coming home, I was listening to ESPN radio on my way home, and they said that something had happened at the Browns-Steelers game. And then they said they're going to cut the break, and you hear the audio. Now, again, you can hear audio, and you can put, your own 2 cents on it of what you thought happened. But until I got home and turned ESPN on and actually saw that, I've never seen anything like that. I mean, I've been a football fan for 30-plus years, and I don't remember ever seeing anything that – I mean, that's stuff you see in movies. That's stuff you see –
right.
You don't see that on a football field. I mean, that's just my words, the whole thing about that is he deserves every game that he gets suspended. I would have thought – I knew he was going to get suspended for at least the rest of the season this year. Mm-hmm. I could see 2 games next year and making it half the season, and that's the punishment. And then I would probably venture to say they're going to make him go and, take anger management and make sure that that's not going to happen again. I know he appealed today, and the appeal got upheld, that they're not going to take away the suspension. He said that Mason Rudolph used a racial slur, but there's no evidence that happened. I know I think did I read today that they reduced Pouncey's suspension to 1 game from 3 to 1? Did I see that?
3 to 2. 2.
Okay.
Well, I wrote that. I wrote something on that earlier.
The Browns activated the guy that got suspended too, right? He's back this week too. And you know what? The funny thing about that, Lewis, is who it hurts the most? The Cleveland Browns. If it hurts anyone, it hurts Cleveland more than anybody, because they were on this roll. They need him on the defensive side of the ball. He's one of their main guys on defense. And now you've blown that. You've ruined your season, and anyone else, that any chance, even if they make the postseason, they're not going to get very far, so it's not really going to matter one way or the other. But, I mean, I don't – to me, until I saw it on TV, and then I sat there and watched the NFL channel and watched Michael Irvin and all them kind of comment on it. And the next day you watch First Take, you watch Stephen A. Smith and all of them talk about it. It just kind of scares you, like, okay, if it's gone to that level, what are we going to see next? Like, if it's gone to that, I know the NFL is trying to, brush this aside. They're not going to stand for this. They're not going to let this happen again, obviously, because they don't need the same situation we were talking about earlier with baseball. You don't need another black eye. You don't need black eyes right now. And I know the NFL is on the verge of going into another strike because the CBA expires after the next season, the 2020 season. Yeah. They're trying to get that put in place so that they don't go on strike again like they did. And it would be pretty awful, especially being that the Super Bowl is here in my backyard in 2021 in Tampa.
Sorry.
Yeah, that could be a shortened season or no season at all. And so the thing is, they don't need sports needs no black eyes anymore. We've had enough.
No.
We've had the sexual assault with Ray Rice beating on his girlfriend or wife in the elevator, and then we had Kareem Hunt do the same thing, and then we had Tyreek Hill beat his kids or whatever the heck he was accused of. You gotta, and then of course the Houston Astros thing with the cheating scandal. And you just right now we don't, in the sports community, we don't need black eyes. We need to get up above this and move forward in a positive way because
it's supposed to give us an escape, and make us feel better. But this isn't making us feel better. It's only
Speaking of that, I saw that there was a shooting at a high school football game.
In New Jersey, yes, a 10-year-old boy from New Jersey.
What the heck is up with that? I mean, you can't even go to a high school football game anymore.
No.
That's just it's pretty awful how bad the world has gotten that we can't escape. Our escape for us, because we're sports fans, so we escape to sporting events. We go to football games or baseball games or hockey or basketball, whatever, sport you love to go watch in person. And we can't even do that anymore without having someone with a gun or a bomb threat or whatever else. So you're taking away the entertainment portion. They scared us a few years ago with that psycho that killed people when The Dark Knight came.
I remember that.
Not even scared to go to the movie theater. Then here locally in Florida, we had a guy shoot up a nightclub in Orlando. Then we had in Las Vegas do the same damn thing. So it's like, okay, so you're taking away all the entertainment. So what you're trying to do, in a way, is you're trying to keep everybody inside. I don't want anyone going out and doing anything. You're staying in. Well, that's going to cut off social gatherings and stuff when you can't go and do things like this. And I mean, I hate for them to have to install metal detectors and you have to go through metal detectors at a high school football game. That's sad because those kids, they're playing because they love football or they're playing because they love the sport. They don't want to go to a game. I mean, as a fan, you're scared, but you don't think that those players weren't scared shitless. I'm sure they were.
Oh, yeah.
I saw a video of someone's cell phone, and I mean, everybody was running. Or if you weren't running, they were on the ground. So, I mean, it's just how scary that is that you can't even go to a high school football game anymore without going, oh, am I going to get shot at? I mean, it's just bad that it's come to that. That it's come to that. I mean, we haven't had any big things happen at tennis or NASCAR yet, so I don't know if not giving any ideas to anyone out there, but anything going off at anything like that. So any of those venues, but I mean, I mean, I was going to ask you about that. How close are you from where that shooting was in New Jersey?
I'm on the other side of the state. That was more towards South Jersey, more towards Philadelphia. Because it was right where the Eagles' home field is. So it's like about 2.5 hours away from here. I'm up north. That's south.
Okay. So that's more towards Pennsylvania. Okay.
Yeah, it's Atlantic County.
Now, Lewis, if I read correctly, those two are rival schools. Did that have something to do with the shooting? I'm
I
assuming
wouldn't be surprised. You know, how rivalries get. They get so out of control, and trying to put a scare in them. I mean, rivalries, of course, in football is nothing new. We had ours back in our day, but they take a step too far now in this generation. They think they can solve everything with a gun.
Yeah, I mean that seems to be right there. That seems to be it right there. Everything is solved with a gun, or they're gonna bomb. Something like that. It seems to be that way. I mean, when I was in high school, I mean, I went for, I think it was either my junior year or my senior year in high school. We went to a game. I went to a game with my buddy and our rival, and there was a fight inside the stadium. Now,
fight something new. That's common.
But fights. So it happened, and me and him said, you know what? It's time to get out of here. And we left the stadium. And the funny thing is, we were winning. We were kicking their asses on their homecoming night.
Right.
So I'm sure they got pissed. But it shouldn't go to – I mean, it's okay if you get in fisticuff fights and there's cops and stuff like that. But when you have to bring in a weapon, there's a gun or a knife or whatever else you bring in as a weapon, that's when it gets bad. Yeah. That's when it gets bad, when you have to bring in weapons. And like I said, rivalries happen in sports all the time. Those are never going to go away. I mean, you can name the great ones. I mean, to my opinion, to this day, probably the greatest rivalry in college football, and you can agree or disagree with me, I think is Ohio State, Michigan. But I would say, to me, it's Navy, Army. I think that game is more important to, again, I'm not a Big Ten fan, but I don't ever miss the Army-Navy, ever.
Right.
That's
this week.
Yeah. So I'm not going to miss the football game. I won't miss that game. Now, I know Ohio State, Michigan that's next week because rivalries happen during the week of Thanksgiving. Like the Gators play the Noles, USF plays UCF in Orlando, so that's the rivalry that we have here, in the state of Florida. But I mean, they're you can think back to the NFL. Would you say Packers, Bears? Would you say Browns, Steelers? Even though we had the Myles Garrett.
Packers, Bears.
Packers, Bears. Okay. Okay, in hockey, would you say Boston, Montreal? Would you say the Rangers, maybe? Rangers in Boston with the
Rangers in Boston. Well, anything involved with the original six, of course, would be a rivalry. So Rangers, Montreal, Rangers, Boston, Detroit, Toronto. They're right next to each other anyway. So yeah.
Well, I mean, if you think too, Lewis, if you're north of the border, you probably say Montreal, Toronto. Because that's a Canadian thing. I mean, they have
but Detroit and Toronto are more closer in distance.
Okay. Yes. Gotcha. Yes. Yeah, I was in Detroit the final season of the Joe Louis Arena. I got to see that.
Yeah.
I talked to my buddy who lived in Michigan. He's in Nashville now, but I said, you know what? The thing about the Joe that of any other arena that I've been in. They have banners everywhere. And I know I've been to MSG. So those two arenas alone have more banners than I think half the arenas around the country have because there have been so many championships won in those things. I mean, between the Rangers and the Knicks, I know the Knicks haven't won a championship for a long time, but they did win a lot before. The Rangers have won Stanley Cups before, so And in Detroit, the Red Wings have won multiple. I don't know where Detroit ranks as far as Stanley Cups. I know Montreal has the most. I don't know who the second.
I think it's 13.
They're they have 13 Stanley Cups. Okay. All right. Because Montreal have 21, right? Montreal
23.
23 Stanley Cups. Okay. And the Yankees have the most, right? 27 championships. Is that right?
The most in North America.
They're the most in North America. The Canadians have the most in Canada. So that's okay. But, I mean, if you want to look at all the sports, they have the most of anyone. No matter America or Canadian, the Yankees have the most of anybody. Then it's the Celtics that have 17 basketball championships, right? They're the leaders in that department. And
but Lakers aren't far behind.
No, because that was a rivalry back. It was Bird and Magic.